Welcome back, everyone, to the Queen of TV channel. I'm your host, the Queen herself, and you are the Prince and Princesses. You're either a subscriber or you're a viewer. Either way, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about my top 10 least favorite episodes of season 1. Now, I did not like the original quality of what I had did beforehand. That's why I deleted that video amongst all the other videos as well. So we're gonna do a review, not a review, but we're gonna redo this top 10 list. But not just that, but we're also going to do season 2 as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ranked at number 10 for season 1 is episode 3, Catch of the Day. And ranked at number 10 for season 2 is episode 9, Riding for a Fall. I'm looking at my notes, by the way, for anybody that's wondering why I'm looking down. The reason why I put Catch a Day at number 3 is, yes, there is some things in that episode that generally are good. We finally see that Cleo embraces herself as a mermaid. We also see the shenanigans that the girls are now getting involved in after they saved a sea turtle and seeing how easy it is to cause problems for themselves. But the reason why it's on this list for season 1 is because I did not like the fact that Emma and Ricky were accusing Cleo's dad of something that he did not do, and then their carelessness about what they were doing in the water to begin with. And not to mention just overall Cleo being peer pressured into accepting that she's a mermaid. Now, the reason why it's not high on this list is because that peer pressure isn't the reason why Cleo even got into the water. It was because she wanted to stop those lawbreakers who were working for her father for illegally going out fishing areas that they were not supposed to. And I'm glad that Cleo believed her dad until eventually there was some type of proof. But once she found out the truth, it was all said and done. But there's like too much in this that I do not like that happened to put this at number 10 in season 1. Now, for why episode 9 is at number 10 for season 2 is because Emma in this is being horrible for no reason to Ash. I don't know why she's having this behavior. I also didn't like the fact that Lewis didn't outright just tell Cleo the truth about him having to already go with Charlotte to this award event thing when she asked him if anything was wrong, and that he just lied, making everything worse. Now, the reason why it's not higher on this list is because of how humble that Ash had handled the situation. He didn't get upset, he didn't yell, or he didn't get angry. He kept his calm and his cool. On top of that, we do see Emma actually get some form of karma for her stubbornness, and she ended up saving his horse's life. And we do see Lewis get his comeuppance for trying to leave both of the girls on in his lie. And at least at the end, Cleo felt good about the fact that Lewis also did it to Charlotte. So that's why it's low on this list. Ranked at number 9 for season 1 is episode 14, Surprise. And ranked at number 9 for season 2 is the Gracie Code part 1 and 2. Now, let's talk about the season 1 first. So, the reason why I put Surprise on that list because that episode for me consistently is like a decent episode, and it is quite boring. It's very fast paced too. Like, we go to point A to point B. Like, it doesn't take us that long to get to Cleo's birthday party situation. And then the whole thing with Lewis and Zane kind of like doing this monster hunt thing, and how, even though, yes, Emma and Ricky were fine with it, they didn't tell Cleo. But, like, I really could not, per se, find anything I liked about it. So that's why when I first did this, I was trying to like reach for reasons to why it was low on the list, but in reality, it is just a decent episode to me, and I was really kidding myself and you guys, and I apologize for that. But I do like the fact that it was centered around for Cleo to like have her dad finally accept that she is growing up, even though it wasn't like the overall plot of the story. And I just feel like the title and the story itself didn't really match well together. So it's ranked at number 9. Now, as for Gracie's Code Part 1 and 2 being ranked at number 9 in season 2, there was a lot in both of those I did not like. And then when I had did the review and the recap on this season that I've just finished yesterday, by the way, I realized that Max is unbelievably obsessed with Gracie even after 50 years of not being together, that to the point this man didn't even get remarried or just date anybody else because they were never actually married. Didn't try to have any kids. And he just like how easily he just exposed the secret about Mako, even though he promised like Cleo like her like the secret was safe. Yeah, maybe he was talking about her as a mermaid, but her like knowing about Mako Island and going there is what led Charlotte seeing Cleo as a mermaid. So either way, he still broke his promise. Hmm. On top of that, we kind of see that, yeah, in that recap and review of those episodes, like you hear me say that I see now that Gracie was actually selfish, and I see why her and Charlotte are so close, because originally I didn't think that Gracie was selfish, but when I sat and thought on it, Gracie literally has not tried to find some common ground with her mermaid life. Yes, I understand it's hard being a mermaid and a normal girl, but at the same time, like she deviated from her friends. She literally blamed her boyfriend for why she never will feel human again and just broke up with him in the most traumatic way possible. And then he selfishly exploded the secret all because his ex love's granddaughter wanted to know her grandmother was a mermaid. And he just thought, oh yeah, let me just tell her all about mermaids despite the fact that I no longer is associated with mermaids. Like, no, there was really none in that episode that just made me feel like, oh my gosh, this is so great. This belongs in my top 10 favorites. No. The only thing that saves it and makes it low on this list, but not low enough, and keeps it off this list is the moment that Max had with Cleo and Lewis and telling his story and us seeing that and seeing the whole shift in his behavior as he's going through the story, seeing that little happy moment of him run on Mako Island with her in the past, and then on top of that, us even hearing about Gracie, because her name's only been mentioned in season 1, we never really talked about her, but now we are. And on top of that, it is a good twist to know that Charlotte is Gracie's granddaughter, so that's like a big giant twist for the show. But all that's not compared to all the other crap that I do not like about this episode, especially the parts with how close Charlotte gets to the secret, ends up finding about mermaids, and what happens after that episode. So it's at number 9. At number 8 for season 1 is episode 23, In Too Deep. And for season 2, it is episode 12, Fish Fever. The reason why In Too Deep is at the 8th episode is because I again was kidding myself trying to put that in my top 10. It's no longer part of my top 10 favorites, but it is in the top 10 least favorites, because this wasn't even about Julia. This episode was more about Ricky and Zane and how Ricky needs to prove that she's not going to explode the secret to Zane. On top of that, we see Zane cheat on Ricky with Miriam, yet he gets a pass because he goes back and gets her locket. That's so dumb. He literally kissed somebody else for a piece of jewelry. Like, absolutely not. That's a breakup. And then on top of that, we have to deal with the fact that throughout that whole episode, Ricky just wants to tell him, knowing full well Zane is looking for his mermaid. Yeah, we know he does eventually help them, but it's like it's too late. At this point, he keeps talking about mermaids this and mermaids that, so it was way too late to even tell him anything. So it makes more sense for him to find out in the finale. But it's still crazy to me that we didn't really get a real resolution to Julia's story. It was just they mentioned Julia, they mentioned all the bad parts about Julia and how Julia was a fool and ended up being in love with a guy that won't expose her anyway. And then she just closed up after that and eventually moves on. Like, that's not a story. That's like literally only bringing up all the negative things instead of any positives about her. So I just feel like, no, out of Miss Chatham and Gracie, like, Julia does not get the respect that she deserves. Like, she literally did not get a proper episode about her. And as for Fish Fever for season 2, I feel like why this is my least favorite is because there's way too much going on and not enough of what the content is about. We know it's about the fact that it's supposed to be Emma being sick after being poisoned by some coral, but like the whole subplot with Lewis and Charlotte having to run around looking for Lewis and all that. Yeah, that's fine. I like the fact she got that come up as after everything that was going on. But at the same time, it just reinforces to me why I should not like Charlotte, because really at the beginning she wasn't happy about going to the marine park, and at the end she's like demanding they do this, that, this, and that, and they should do something romantic, and they just feel like, okay, it's a rinse and repeat. And on top of that, it's like the way that it was supposed to be framed is that we were supposed to be like worried about Emma and Hector, that they could be seriously sick and not make it, and that they're in dire straits. But like when you get to that scene where they show Emma, only thing that's like remotely creepy about her is that her breathing sounds very hoarse. But like other than that, she doesn't even look that damn sick. And it doesn't help that they got her wearing waterproof makeup. It would be different if she didn't have any makeup on at all. And she actually looked far more sicker. Like the gills were worse, the scales were like even more disgusted. Like throughout this episode, all she does is eat and act weird. It isn't hitting home to us that Emma is gravely sick. And I said in that, like, it seems like to me they literally tried to kill Emma. And I think I brought up that they almost killed Lewis in episode 1. But like, I think I didn't frame it as they almost killed Lewis too, not just Emma. But yeah, they damn near killed both their main characters. But it's like you don't really feel that. And I think this Fish Fever was supposed to be a Halloween type episode, but it did not really deliver on the creepy, scary factor. So it's ranked at number 8. So ranked at number 7 for season 1 is episode 21, Red Herring. Hold on. Get out. Get out. And ranked at number 7 for season 2 is The Heat Is On. Now, seasons 1, Red Herring, like I'll just say what I said last time. It does not fit the title. Um, in that, I think I realized what the red herring is. Now that I think about it, I think the red herring is not that Emma has red hair, so Zane sees her with red hair. I think it's like more complex than that. It is kind of that he's supposed to think that he's looking for a mermaid named Ariel rather than a mermaid named Emma, but he does know he's looking for a mermaid. And I think the point of the red herring is that Zane thinks that the mermaid he's looking for not only has red hair, but that it's only one mermaid instead of three mermaids. And that it wouldn't necessarily be anybody he knows. Because if he saw a mermaid with blonde hair, that means that every girl that has blonde hair, he would assume would be a mermaid. So her having red hair means that he can say, oh, great, I don't have an attachment to this person because I don't know any red haired girls. I can actually still go after her despite nobody believing him. But I think that's what it meant by the red herring. He doesn't know it's three mermaids, but believes it's only one. He believes she has red hair when she has blonde hair. So he also thinks that he doesn't know this mermaid personally. So he would go after her without any regrets. Which I still don't understand why he even wanted to track her down. Because I'd be damn. The woman literally um saved your life. But also with the red herring is that Zane believes that it is Miss Chatham is what I think the biggest one is. So when he sees this red hair, oh, he thinks, okay, so no, Miss Chatham isn't a mermaid. No, it was a different mermaid with red hair. So that takes him off of her trail that she used to be a mermaid. But it's confusing because there's so much that it's trying to hint at that it's three mermaids, not one. Miss Chatham is not a mermaid because this mermaid has red hair, not blonde hair. He would know this mermaid because he would have to know a red-haired mermaid instead of a blonde one because then all the blonde girls would have a terrible chance at hiding it because he would try to throw water on them. So it's like I don't feel it. And I just feel like it does not do him any justice. I think that's why I had it higher than Into Deep. Because at least in that I understand why he's sick and tired of Ricky like being so secretive. It is a little bit more a standalone on its own than Surprise would be. And at least he isn't crazy because he really is seeing a mermaid and he's not lying. It's just no one believes him rather than what happened with Catch of the Day. So now let's talk about seasons two. The heat is on. I ranked this at number 7 because of how Emma and Ricky were acting. I said it in that episode. The both of them were being fucking stupid, and so were their boyfriends. I do not understand this. Like the whole conflict between the four of them was ridiculously stupid. And there was this small moment subplot with Charlotte and Lewis that I did not truly care about. Yeah, I gave it this. Charlotte was at least decent in this. She wasn't causing any problems, but then it did confirm to me that she's the one that's planning every single thing that they do. He really doesn't have a say in a lot of the stuff. So, well, majority of everything. It was like the first. This wasn't even the first time. It was the second time he suggested they do anything romantic. So it was like, okay, I don't like the fact that Lewis can't be there because there are pictures of him and it sucks that he wasn't there. But then again, here is Cleo again in the fucking middle having to already deal with everything else. Now she has to mend between these two fucking people and she feels abandoned. And in that I said that Lewis abandoned her too, but I caught myself and said not abandoned because Lewis didn't technically abandon her. He had already made obligations to Charlotte. He just forgot for that moment until he had to be reminded. And if he could be there, he would be there. But yeah, no. Now, however, though I feel about that, I did like the fact that Lewis was the one who was there for Cleo throughout this. He did apparently do this sweet moment for Charlotte. I like the fact that Lewis is capable of being romantic. And not only that, but that whole anniversary thing, like I'm so happy for them. They've been mermaids for a year and they've been through so much. The photos of them and how happy they look, their moments together. Those are actually pictures of the actresses posing from behind the scenes, but hey, it is what it is. The actors and actors, because Lewis is character is played by an actor, not an actress. So yeah, there's some sweet moments in there, but it's a lot of bullshit mixed with it. Because I just feel like Emma and Ricky really let Cleo down, and she shouldn't have forgave him so quick. Now, let's move on to rank 6. In season 1, ranked at number 6 is episode 8, The Denim Affair. And for season 2, it is episode 7, In Hot Water, ranked at number 6. So, for seasons 1, The Denim Affair, I ranked this as my least favorite, and it's high on this list because this is the first time we see Lewis make a mistake and accidentally expose a secret. But also, like, because of how he was acting in this and how careless he was being and how selfish he was being, and he put the girls at risk, and there is like big repercussions to that going forward. Repercussions for that going forward. I'm sorry. And on top of that, like, even if Cleo was the only one that was siding with him, that's not enough for me to make this higher on the list. So for that, it's lower on the list. And not more higher because of Cleo. But other than that, Lewis was being awful in this. I can understand why Emma and Ricky were upset and mad at him. I feel like people in the comments should have understood where they were coming from rather than just assuming that the girls were just mistreating Lewis when in reality Lewis was being quite selfish. Now, as for season 2's In Hot Water, this episode mirrored with the Denim Affair. In this is when the girls were in the wrong and Lewis was in the right. Lewis did nothing wrong. Yes, I said it, like, Cleo's frustrated with everything she's going on, but that does not give her the right to take it out on Lewis. Emma and Ricky should have not butted into Cleo and Lewis's business because they do that a lot, and they should have just let them both work this out instead of making things worse. Ronnie could have seriously died, and it could have been a big thing, and Lewis did almost get arrested. So, yeah, in that, the girls were completely and utterly in the wrong. There was no excuse for the way they all three were acting. And at the very end of the day, I'm glad that they do this with the characters, because instead of just saying, oh, I'm sorry, they actually have the characters show actions of being sorry. Like Emma and Ricky freaking out, didn't want to tell Cleo about Lewis, and they did try to find Ronnie, and then Cleo obviously got on their case for making things worse, which, yeah, she was in the wrong too, but I'm glad she called them out for what they did. And then all three of them worked together to actually find Ronnie and save Lewis. And I do like the fact that Emma agreed to help Lewis pay for his computer, and obviously Ricky also would have, it definitely did help, because she was just having a little friendly little discussion with Lewis at the end. But at least through their actions, they're showing that they're sorry. But majority of that episode is of, like, them being mean to him for no reason. So it's at number 6. So let's get into our top 5. Ranked at number 5 for season 1 is episode 11, Sink or Swim. And for season 2, episode 10, Missing the Boat. Sink or Swim for season 1 is at number 5 because I feel like this whole plot with Emma and Byron is very pointless. Byron obviously cares more about goofing off and slacking, and Emma's more like in control, and she wants things done this way, and she expects perfection. Like, they're two opposites that just do not attract. And all it does is just reinforce into Emma that she'll never actually, like, be able to have a meaningful relationship with him. And it's not because she's a mermaid, it's because they are both so different, and she's trying to help him and trying to get him to do the right thing, and he just keeps fucking up and making mistakes, and she ends up getting her heart hurt in the end, and she just feels more alone than what she already is. And I assume that it was something to do with her having to give up her swimming dream, and it is that too, because it is a form of PTSD for her. She's being reminded of something she's no longer a part of, and she's been completely eradicated from that world because she's a mermaid, so that only feeds in her insecurities even more. And I'm just glad it didn't work out and she ended the relationship because they were better as friends than they were as a couple. Now, as for season two's Missing the Boat, this is at number 5 because I am so fucking hella pissed about how Charlotte was able to manipulate Cleo and Lewis into getting what she wanted. This is when the abuse is more apparent to the fandom about Charlotte towards Lewis than it should have been, because it's obvious that that abuse happened in the second episode, but I guess it wasn't so heavy than it was in this episode and going forward. But it actually started in the second episode. She she used Cleo's grade as an excuse to manipulate her into thinking she was helping her, and then got Lewis so comfortable with her that he was willing to claimed that Cleo and them were bossing him around. He was fine with the fact that Charlotte must have liked him. He even risked taking her out to Mako Island, and then tried to instill that they are just friends to her, only for them to end up in a relationship. And at that point, Lewis just showed that he is no longer trustworthy because he will believe Charlotte's word over them every time. He chose Charlotte over protecting them. And yeah, there might be some people that feel like he has the right to do that. Him and Cleo broken up, and they feel like maybe the girls don't treat him well. But like at the same time, why would you want to be okay with him being in an abusive relationship where he's being controlled 24/7 and bossed around, rather than being with his friends who generally have a reason to be upset with him for breaking like their loyalty by taking her to somewhere that she should have not been at the first place. But you know, it's number 5 for that reason. Now, ranked at number 4 for season 1 is episode 15, The Big Chill. Ranked at number 4 for season 2 is episode 15, Irresistible. Okay, so for episode 15 for season 1, Emma was being very controlling. She was being a bitch. She was being mean to Ricky. Ricky was doing nothing wrong. Emma was just acting over her head and being a complete ass. I'm glad that Cleo was there. I'm glad that Ricky ended up saving the day. And I just feel like them using Emma buying them tickets and Ricky getting herself fired on purpose just so Emma could keep her job. Like, I just feel like that Ricky shouldn't have had to done that. Emma should have apologized beforehand, because it was obvious that she was mad that Ricky was doing better than her, and obviously she's not good in high stakes issues. I just don't feel like Emma should have been forgiven that easy. Now, as for is Irresistible, I have already talked about this episode. I'm going to be very vague with this. This episode is obviously about sexual assault. And because of the content that is required over it, the fact that Zane was even willing to attempt to use this and how he tried to convince Lewis to do it, Lewis not warning the girls beforehand, and Nate's constant need to keep harassing the girls even after they tell them they don't want anything to do with him, I don't think I need to go any more detailed than that. All I can say is that check out the episode for yourselves, or go watch my recap and review, because I am not going to try to rant in this. Now, ranked at number 3 for season 1, episode 19, Hurricane Angela. And ranked at number 3 for season 2 is episode 3. No, not episode 3. Episode 21. And then there were 4. Gonna be vague about these 2 as well because I don't want to rant. For Hurricane Angela in season 1, Angela obviously being a manipulative person that she is, didn't like looking at that. Cleo blaming Kim constantly throughout this episode was something not easy to watch. How Cleo scrambles to try to get everything in check, in order, and all that. And thank God for Emma, Ricky, and Lewis for coming in, exposing Angela for what she is, because I feel like Cleo wasn't even trying to listen to poor Kim. And this is the one time where I can say that Cleo was being a bad sister to to Kim until at the very end when Kim decided to be a bitch to Cleo. But then again, Cleo has been mean to her throughout that episode, so I guess I can get it a pass. Now for and then there were four, like I said before. Okay, Max exposes secrets. Charlotte becomes a mermaid. Lewis is caught in the middle. Lewis not able to break up with her. Charlotte becoming a mermaid, now forcing Lewis and the rest of them to have to deal with her. Like, all that is so fucking depressing. That is just so depressing, and I hate it. This is worse than when the villains found out in episode 25 of season 1. This is worse. This is terribly worse. I cannot. That episode, I cannot. I just can't do it. I cannot stand it. It's just too much. So that's why it's ranked at number 3. Like, that episode, oh my god. My anxiety was starting to spike on that one. So ranked at number 2 for season 1 is episode 22, Fish Out of Water. And ranked at number 2 for season 2 is episode 6, Pressure Cooker. So, obviously ranked at number 2 because Ricky is made out to be in the right after she lied to her friends, betrayed their trust, let Zane get close to him even though he's damn near close to their secret. Their subplot with Cleo and Lewis is not enough to save this episode because it's too damn short. Ricky like turn on her friends all because they don't want her to be with Zane, even though she knows if Zane finds a secret it could be bad for them. Zane keeps shouting his mouth off about mermaids, putting them at risk, and Ricky acts like it's not a big thing and she can handle it by telling him to just drop it, like that's gonna fucking help. Like her keeping secrets and lying to them about her feelings for Zane and their relationship, and having the nerve to tell them that she wanted to tell them after they were already mature enough to handle it. Like, expect maturity out of people who supposedly are just as much in danger as you are, but you don't care because you're living in the la la land. No, absolutely not. And as for Pressure Cooker, this is the episode where Charlotte makes it clear to Cleo that she's not going to stand in her way between her and Lewis. Charlotte obviously showing her obsessive tendencies towards Lewis. Lewis being put in an uncomfortable situation. Cleo's being put in an uncomfortable situation because her father didn't think to tell his kids ahead of time what happened with him and Annette, Charlotte's mother. They were actually working a job. They were not dating. But, like, who the fuck buys a person flowers like that, keep it a secret, go on a date, eating out, and then on top of that, y'all asses are supposed to be at their house eating dinner, and you already told her about your kids? Like, absolutely not. That whole situation gave me complete and utter embarrassment. I felt so bad for Lewis and Cleo in this episode because Cleo was made out to be a jealous Nancy, and Lewis was made out to be a complete and utter fucking liar because the shit that Charlotte was spinning about Lewis pissed me absolutely the fuck off. Bitch, you two were not seeing each other like that, and you was wrong for trying to make Cleo think that. Hell, I mean, this whole assassinating Lewis character behind his back by Charlotte was really getting on my fucking nerves. And the only good thing about this episode is that Emma and Ricky got involved and convinced Cleo by being that little devil on her shoulder and telling her to use your powers for the wrong reasons. But for me, they were the right reasons. And I'm glad they did it. I just wish that Lewis quit talking to Charlotte after that. But now we're on to number 1. So what outbeat all the other 9 entries from season 1 and 2? Well, season 1 y'all already know. Season 1, episode 10, The Camera Never Lies, and then for season 2, episode 23, Reckless. So let's talk about Camera Never Lies. I think I know what Camera Never Lies is talking about. I'm pretty sure it's talking about the film that Lewis had of Zane. That Zane isn't this tough, brave fucking guy that he acting out to be. He's not really a big bully. He's just a big, weak Ling, or B word for that matter, underneath, but also to get Ricky to feel sorry for him and be more endearing to him, because him and Ricky both had this tendency of not letting people get close. So they choose to be mean and obnoxious to people. But I'm like, this episode was also supposed to start his growth. It did not happen. And it does not change the fact that Zane still has done some shit that was bad. And just by giving him this episode and telling us, oh, he's acting like this because, he's got fucking severe daddy issues for trying to get his dad's attention and make him proud of him. But like, that does not excuse him using Miriam for his own gratification and being in this swinger type relationship. And on top of that, it doesn't give him the right to be a bully either. So I mean, like, okay, I get it. You got daddy issues. Hell, bitch, I didn't have my daddy either. But like, I'm not out here being a complete and utter asshole to people on purpose. Like, I'm being an asshole to people that I feel being assholes back to me. Like, you literally are being an asshole just to be one. Don't take out your family issues on everybody else. Like, this is what happens with kids when you don't get therapy. Because I would know. I didn't do any of the stuff that Zane did, but I hated my father for years. And I didn't forgive my father until I was 22 years of age. And our conversations are still awkward because we don't have all those years together. Yeah, he showed up then and there, but we don't have that childhood bond like that. I got more maternal issue towards my mother and my grandmother than I have fraternal issue towards my dad. So our conversations are still awkward. And we've been talking to each other for 6 years and it's still awkward. So, I mean, it's not easy. Now, let's talk about recklessness. Episode 23 of season 2. What do I hate about this episode? Okay, let's begin. First off, Charlotte is being unreasonable. Second, Charlotte is a mermaid who's afraid of dolphins. What a twist. 3, Charlotte attacks Ronnie and does not feel any remorse or suffer no repercussions. 4, Charlotte literally is getting the thing that she asked for from Cleo in the previous episode, only for her to get mad when Emma tries to do that and makes a big deal out of it. 5, Charlotte damn near exposed the secret trying to get even with Nate, but then claimed she did that for Lewis because the others did not care about him when they were the only ones comforting him, while she was out there trying to prove a fucking point over nothing instead of just being there for her boyfriend. And there were people in the comments that supported her on that fact. Using violence to take up for your significant other? Really? I'm gonna be clear with y'all. I'm a person that agrees with self-defense, even if that includes violence. Right? Even if you have to give violence. I know what self-defense is. I know the difference. This is not self-defense. It would have been self-defense if Lewis did something, but not Charlotte. And then the 6th one. Charlotte makes it out that she knows more than the girls because she's the only real mermaid. I fucking can't with her. Her entitlement level goes up, 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 up. Okay? When she first arrived, it was very low. When she acted the way she did in episode 6, it went up here. Episode 10 happened, it went up here. And then it was slowly moving up until we got to episode 21. Then episode 22 moved up a bit. Then we got to 23. And then we kept going until it got here. And that was the finale. So, yeah. No. That's why it's number 1. I can't do it. The entitlement, the fucking audacity, the freaking victim shaming that she does, trying to say, oh, but Lewis, the only reason why I did that to Nate is for you. Are you trying to say that it's his fault that you reacted badly to a situation you had no full like recognition about? That you literally just assumed that, oh, if you did this thing, he'd be fucking grateful? If anything, he didn't look like he was happy you did it at all. He was just trying to keep the peace. Oh gosh, I'm sorry guys if I messed up on that word. Certain it's just some words I can't say. But at the end of the day, she ended up getting her comeuppance. So I can just be thankful for that. But that's all I got. That is the top 10 least favorite episodes for seasons 1 and 2. And let me guys know which ones are your least favorite episodes. I will also link in the description all the episodes that I had listed from 10 to 1. So that way you can watch these episodes for yourself and determine whether you feel about these episodes. But I will see you guys in the next video. So have a blessed day. Have a wonderful day. If no one saw you today, I'm telling you, I love you. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Goodbye.